All right, welcome to Formula One Fanatics. Everybody's been waiting. We have the shakedown in Barcelona. I'm here with Kunle and also here with Roman, and we're going to talk about the big stories for today. But we'll start off with Roman, who's been keeping a close check. Can you give us a breakdown of with the mileage? Because this is very important. It seems like Haas got the most mileage today, and Ferrari engine looks like it's very, very reliable across the board with no issues. We know that Liam Lawson had an issue with his anti-stall, and other teams had small little bit of issues. But overall, a good day for Ferrari. Got a lot of mileage, and not Ferrari as a team, but as an engine with Haas and their other customers. What are your thoughts, Roman?
Yeah, today was a bit interesting. There are a lot of issues trying to find data and whatnot. So many of this has been insider information and whatever information the reporters can squeeze through. So in total today, Ferrari as an engine supplier, so not as a team, as an engine supplier, were able to get 198 laps worth of data. So that was through Haas and Cadillac. Haas being the majority of it, where they did 154 laps worth of it. And fun fact about that is Esteban Ocon did all of that. So those were the second highest. The first were Mercedes, and that was with Alpine and Mercedes themselves with 209 laps. So Alpine had a bit of an issue that the engine clipped out a bit without the driver who was driving was Franco Colapinto. On the straight, his engine was clipping, and that had a bit of an issue. Later in the morning, they had an issue. So he only ran around 28 laps, but he came back to the pit. They seemed to fix it for the afternoon, and he ran again. So that was that.
What?
I
Hold on, very quickly.
believe
Who's the engine for Alpine again? Mercedes.
Mercedes.
Mercedes. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So in morning they were able to run around like 26 laps, and in afternoon they were able to do more. In total, they did around 60 laps total today.
Yeah.
And Mercedes themselves they did 149 laps. So in total, 209 laps. So they're the highest so far.
For Mercedes.
Surprisingly, yeah, for Mercedes.
Okay.
Surprisingly, they were not the highest team. The highest team again was Haas with 154 laps, and that was with
Okay.
Ferrari. The
Okay.
the
So
dark
did Mercedes
horse,
have clipping too? Did the Mercedes team have clipping?
they did not experience any such issues so far. It was only
Okay.
seen in the Alpine car.
Okay. So whatever that clipping. So it seems like Mercedes doesn't have that issue with deployment. Now, what did you say the problem with Mercedes was again that they might have had today?
The problem with Mercedes was that they might had a small issue with the engine trying to shut off its PU for safety. So it
Okay.
usually happens when the heat is too much and the engine thinks that it's going to blow up. So what it does is
Okay.
that it shuts down half of the engine so it doesn't generate heat anymore. So that was happening in the morning. But to be fair, in the morning in Catalonia, it was really chill and it was raining as well. So that could have had a thermal shock for the Mercedes engine, which I don't think is a bit of an issue. It is a small issue which they can fix. And that was
Okay.
for the two manufacturers. The other manufacturer, the new manufacturer, Red Bull Powertrains with Ford, they in total were able to run, I believe, yes, 195 laps. And most of them was run by Isaac Hajar. He was able to clock in at 104 laps by himself.
Okay. So and just uh to rehash one more time so our viewers don't get scratching their head. So list us in order of teams now. Which team, not which engine supplier, which teams had the most laps? I know Alpine had the no. Is it not Alpine? Was it Alpine that had the most laps?
No, Haas,
Haas
154.
yeah, Haas had the most laps. So and that's a good sign because they have a Ferrari engine. So it looks like the
Engine.
Ferrari engine is they're working out reliability issues. We know that they have a new what is it, the steel head that they worked on to give them reliability. And
Hmm.
we know that Haas is generally a durable car. They're going to have to nail their aero. That's going to be a big issue for Haas this year. What are your thoughts in general
Definitely.
about the reliability in general of the cars we've seen today overall? I know there's some troubling signs for Audi. They only had 44 laps, and
Now 27 laps.
27. That's not a lot at all. And what about Cadillac? 44,
No.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, Cadillac 44.
Yeah, that's understandable for these teams, but that shows that they definitely are behind in with with issues of reliability and everything. We know that Cadillac has a Ferrari engine, but
Engine.
yeah, they have to worry about integrating it and getting the timing right and the ratio between the compression and everything. So that might be some issues that they have. And we know Audi has an algorithm thing. Audi is heavily electric based, so we don't know yet, but these might be some issues. Very quickly on your thoughts about what I've just said now, and we'll go to Kunle.
Uh, my thoughts are that Ferrari seems to be hitting it very quickly with the reliability. Again, from what we know, the steelheads were done only in case of reliability. And in the previous videos, we discussed about why a team like Ferrari would even go with this idea. And we come to a conclusion that either they're pushing for performance so much that they need this extra reliability, or the
Yeah,
engine was just blowing up so much they need this as a reliability. So
yeah,
that is what it is. And I think tomorrow Ferrari will be running, and let's see what the main team can deliver.
I can't wait. What are your thoughts, Kunle?
Yeah, I think that it's quite interesting that Ferrari have got off to a good start with their engine. But I do still think that the teams that are carrying the Mercedes engines, namely Williams and I do believe Red Bull, am I correct? Should actually be up there as well. I'm still waiting to see more testing and more movement. Yeah, Ferrari have done well at the initial stage, but we know Ferrari have had a lot of issues in other areas of the car development, namely the chassis and the front end, and so there's a lot of things that they still got to work on before they can actually now look at the whole car as a whole. Mercedes, I think they're also playing their cards to their chest. I don't think that Mercedes wants to show everything that they've got right up at the upfront. We know that the engine's only performing to 80%. There are other things that affect the car that can affect that remaining 20% that we have yet to see.
All
So
teams
I
did
do
80%.
believe there's
All
still a
teams
lot
did 80%.
more. Yeah, there's just a lot more to see.
All teams did 80% today, and during Mercedes shakedown the other day when they did 200 kilometers, they did 100%. So there's no questions about Mercedes reliability. Now, other things might be the case, but we'll see. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. Haja had the fastest time today, 118 point something. They're running at
Mm-hmm.
80, which is very considerably fast. And because we know that the fastest time in free practice one at the same track last year was 7 seconds faster. But when you take into account that they're running at 80%, and this is way before we're going to have free practice during the season, these numbers are good for Red Bull. They're running on soft tires. See, Roman's making me look good because he told me all this shit before the show. They're running on soft tires. And Roman, so they're going fast. Mercedes is slightly behind them in pace, not a big deal. But you said that there's something interesting that they're doing. Is looks like they might be doing a zero pod. What's going on with that?
Interestingly, it's like Star Wars. Palpatine is back. Zero pods are back. Somehow.
Yeah,
We thought, in fact, that this idea was ridiculous because there's no way aerodynamical design can make it stable. The entire purpose of zero pods was to give the backside of the car as much as rear grip as possible. And the
that
problem,
don't
what
even
happened
sound
was,
right. That sounds like a Diddy party, man. Come on, let me stop.
well, it is what it is. But what Mercedes' issue was that they weren't able to create a suspension design which was able to contain the downforce, which created purposing. So
Yeah,
for in their case, too much DDing got them fucked.
who was Diddy
And
got the fun? That's a good one, man. We're gonna put that on the shorts today. Um,
yeah, that was a Mercedes case. But for Red Bull,
oh yeah,
they don't have to deal with the ground effect anymore. So
yeah,
suspension is much more lighter. So a zero pod design can work. And this could actually mean great thing for Isaac Hajar because if Red Bull is seriously thinking of making a real stable car alongside the front, that would mean Red Bull is going for a more stable car in general. And as we know, the Red Bull in the past years has not been a stable car at all. It has been a front heavy car and
yeah,
you have to drive it in like you're like a bull, right? It's a bull. You have to control it. So if they're
yeah.
making a more stable car, it can only mean great things for Isaac Hajar. And we've seen that today he was the fastest time. He set an 18.159 as the fastest time. And second place was George Russell, who set an 18.696. So he was faster by 5 tenths.
Yeah. He was on soft. Was Russell on the softs too? I don't know, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
both
really
of them were
matter.
spots.
The good
Both on
sign is
soft.
that uh, at the end of last season, people was like Red Bull's gonna be so far behind. That doesn't look like it's the case. But remember, I think you said it and I said it, Roman, that we have a feeling that Red Bull's gonna be a contender for at least for they're definitely going to be a contender for Max winning the drivers' title.
Drivers' Championship.
And looking at this now, they'll be up there in the top three with probably with McLaren and Mercedes. So this is a good sign for them. And it looks
Definitely.
like and the only instability now is going to become from the inherent design of all these cars. All of these cars are narrow tires and will have a lack of control. But we know that that's not a problem for Verstappen. Verstappen, there's no such thing as an instability that Verstappen can't deal with. And this is minor compared to what he had to deal with the ground effects. What do you think, Kunle?
Well,
Oh no, what are you
Yeah,
gonna
I
say?
think that I think that a lot of people are all looking at it that this, but I also feel that the reason I gave Hamilton and Alonso a shout is because the cars are smaller and narrower, and actually a bit more similar to how the cars used to be in yesteryear when these drivers were racing at their prime, and I think it sort of suits what they're going to be using to work with. So it might mix it up a little bit more than we saw coming. I think I'm going to be interested in looking at how Alonso and Hamilton, as the older drivers, are going to perform here. The younger drivers might have something to learn from them, and it might be a unique window into 2026 that we hadn't really looked at before.
But if I'm wrong, Roman, coming into the corners though, you're not going to be. These cars are just as almost dangerous as braking late and hard as the ground effects one because the tires are so narrow and because of some other aerodynamic things.
you can lock up very much easier. You can lock up much more faster on these cars.
Yeah, so it's actually more dangerous. So this is not going to be an advantage for Hamilton's style. The other cars were so durable and so were able to absorb, and you're able to manhandle those cars from Schumacher to the
Basically.
yeah. So that's not going to be an advantage for Hamilton and them at all.
Another thing which is worth noting is that since the tires are narrower and there's 50% MGUK performance, the torque will be incredibly fast on the corners. So suspension design is much more critical than actually last year. So it can be much more easier to create a suspension, but has to be more stable as well. So depending on which manufacturer creates a better platform, Hamilton, I have a good chance that he may be good because he has a very good tire feel, but I
Yeah,
doubt it because these tires are very too small.
and he's still going to have to use get used to using that Brembo braking, especially so now that this is kinetic. The brakes are going to be important for charging and everything.
Oh yeah,
And he's
very
going to have to
much.
multitask. So I'm not saying he can't do it, but I'm saying he's not getting a break from last. It might even be more difficult during this era because now you have to worry about less balance, less stability coming into the corner, and you have to use the braking style that he doesn't like using the brakes engine and deploying engines. So I'm not saying he's going to do badly, but it's going to be more challenging for him actually. What are your thoughts, Kunle?
Yeah, I think it will be more challenging, but I think because of the unpredictability of the season, I just want to see what's going to happen when we get out there for the first session when we start practicing with these new engines.
He
Um,
has nowhere to hide tomorrow. They have
yeah,
nowhere to
there's
hide.
no to hide. I think that I'll have a better, clearer perspective of what's going on when
Yeah.
they start their testing tomorrow. I think that I'm rather looking forward to that. I'll be sitting at home with what remains of my Irish single malt, and then I'll be able to give a more insightful look at these engines as they power through tomorrow's testing.
Yeah. Very quickly, Roman. I think Leclerc will like this generation because Leclerc drives well in the chaos. You can just give him any car, whatever. He's gonna have fun.
He
What do you
just
think?
likes to drive fast, yeah.
I think for the reason why Leclerc will be better. Surprisingly, Leclerc is the only driver on the grid who has used engine braking the most out of anyone. And
Yeah.
these cars require a lot of engine braking. So, funnily enough, he's the only driver that I can know who a specialty is also in engine braking. So,
Yeah.
uh, make sure to look at his corner speed entry. It'll be
Yeah.
something out of this world.
Yeah. You know what I heard about Max? A lot of people are saying that Max may not be he may not actually be the best, the most strategic driver or the best at doing technical stuff, but because
He
he's so
is.
no, I'm not finished. But they're saying here's the argument they say he does well at strategy and everything, not because he's great at it, but because he has such a feel for the track that it doesn't test him to his capacity. So he has more mental energy to put towards the strategical stuff because he absorbs that other chaos and stuff so well. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of like if I'm driving a car and it's going 120 kilometers per hour, but it seems like to me it's only going 2 kilometers per hour. Now I can start thinking about other things like strategy. So, in other words, the physical, I mean, the task of manipulating the car and do everything is so easy for him that he can put more of his energy to strategy and other things like that. You understand what I'm saying, Roman? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know he's good at those two things, but what I'm trying to say is that people say, oh, Russell's so analytical and we're doing with deployment. But Russell may be busy trying to manipulate the car, but manipulating the car is no problem for Verstappen. So he can deploy more of his total energy, mental and emotional, towards other parts of the driver. That's why you see Max while he's driving. Oh, I heard the other guys in the cockpit. I heard this and that. He's hearing other things. Meanwhile, everybody else is concentrating on the road. Max is talking to his drivers about what he's driving at 260 kilometers, talking about, oh, look what McLaren is doing. I'd never do that. Nobody else could do that because they'd have to put all their attention to the road. You see what I'm saying, Roman? Yeah.
He's a famous example of that. That in 2020, yeah, 2020, in the night race in Abu Dhabi, what happened was that GP was radioing Max, and Ferrari cars just pitted, and Max heard that tire pitting from GP's radio. It's like, hey, are Ferrari pitting? And GP confirmed, like, yeah, Ferrari are pitting. How did you know? It's like, oh, I heard it from your radio because
See, that's
the
crazy.
pit was so strong. It
That
was so
he's so
loud that
sensitive.
Max heard that. Like, oh, so Ferrari are pitting. So are they on a two-stop? Like, yeah, Ferrari on a two-stop. So, like, okay, I want to extend my lap then. And he got first place.
See, that's crazy.
That's
what I'm talking
Verstappen.
about.
That's Verstappen. That's Max Verstappen for you.
All right, so we got to head out because me and Akuli have another show. But this was good. Any last thing you want to get in now, Roman, that you thought was interesting before we head out? Yeah.
I mean, screw the FIA and F1. They're making it incredibly difficult to find all of this data and making us rely on insiders and people who go on track risking their lives to find this data. But yeah, that's all.
And we did a good job, man, because we actually created some interesting content for today out of what people might say is nothing, but there was a lot of interesting information to get content from.
The next 4 days will be intense. I
know, and I'm going to try to break this.
Formula One is back. Formula One is back.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next month's open testing. I'm going to be sitting in front of this TV all day, man. All right, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Kule, take us out. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been looking at the mysteries of the testing today and the more mysterious testings and results that are going to evolve and come out over the next 4 days as we seek to try to find which of these engines, which of these cars are going to be forerunners in this exciting new adventure that we call 2026 International Motorsport. And from myself, Mustafa and Roman, we bid you goodbye, farewell. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Okay, nice
Take
one,
care.
guys. So we'll be back tomorrow. So, Kule, we'll start in 10 minutes. Yeah, okay.
All right.